We'll get to it. Come back. Time before. So if you come up to make a comment, you'll make a 3 minutes. So it's green, then 30 seconds. Turn yellow, and then red. So something cut into down south. It goes red, actually turns. I only saw it about one person was they were controversial at all. I was reading the timer at that.
That's under a flower.
Maybe it isn't.
Yeah, it's about the plant.
Recreation. We get art, the main culture. I mean, Alachua is a well, okay, so there's the question, how long has the city versus been? Yeah. Yeah. They're parking. The post office was established in 1887. Station established as a place.
This meeting is called to order. We have the invocation by Pastor Michael Miller from Antioch. Can you please stand?
Your honors and all here assembled. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, for you have made. And God, we thank you for your leadership and your guidance. Thank you for guiding us with your wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. God, we thank you for each and everything, for each and every one that's here, and all the business that's going to be conducted. We thank you in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Now we'll stand for the pledge of allegiance of the flag.
To the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we start this meeting, if you have cell phones, I would like for you to turn them off at this time. And if you have to take a call, can you please step out of the chamber area? We highly appreciate it. Thank you. Now we have the approval of the minutes. Of the motion of the agenda. Sorry.
A motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second that.
It's been moved in second. Is there any public comments on the motion? If not, we'll have a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. So say we all. Now we'll move to special presentation. A, Urban Elementary. Excuse me. Yeah. Approve the reading of the proposed ordinance and resolution by title only.
So moved.
I'll second, Mayor.
Second, and All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now we will move to special presentation, item A. Every elementary student's performance art appreciation.
Miss Julie. Miss Julie, please let's take a picture before you leave. Well,
Get close to your friends, shoulder to shoulder. Get closer into your friends. Closer in on the side. Yep. Keep coming, keep coming. We're almost there. We're there. Big smiles on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, as they head out, can I make a comment? Yes, sir. First of all, Irby's got talent. Thank you guys so much for bringing and showing and blessing us here this evening. I did have a public information announcement that I was asked to be made by the principal of Irby. There's an informational meeting held at Irby March 10th at 6 p.m. It'll be at the Irby Elementary Cafeteria. It'll be about the school board and the plans moving forward with Irby. So please be there, be present, and be informed. Thank you.
We will move on to item B.
Thank you. It was wonderful. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Attorney. My name is Rudolph Valadares, and this evening we'll be discussing Theater Park. And so I know we've been discussing Theater Park a couple of times because we did hit that milestone, but I wanted to go through, again, the objectives. So Theater Park did align. It was part of our Strategic Initiative 1.1. It revitalized Main Street in the downtown area. Also, within our annual report for the CRA, there's that line that's talking about revitalization, economic development, and community engagement. So given these two goals, Theater Park project came out. So this is familiar information I'll present to you, and we'll get to the additional items towards the end. But these were the tasks. And so yes, Theater Park, as you see it now, is aesthetically pleasing, but there are many items that we had to address. One of the key items was the structure. The actual structure of the building was an enclosed building. It burnt down, and then we had the renovations for it. So the structural components on those walls did not have the supporting frame. Drainage was an item that was constantly addressed. We had adjacent tenants that talked about water infiltration from this area. The goal was to have a stage, wall aesthetics, landscaping, lighting, architectural features, and so forth. So that was the plan for the project. This board provided guidance when it came to landscaping, the aesthetics consideration, and then one of the key value engineering that you guys addressed was incorporating the structural requirements of the structure into what we see here. And so, for example, this is a structural beam that had to go across to keep the walls from coming. And so by incorporating the structural integrity support for this area into the design was a key value engineering item. Additionally, the flashing on the side, yes, that is very visually appealing, but there's purpose behind it. This wall actually kicked out. And so as it rained, water would weep in that opening and go through the walls. Additionally, the top of Theater Park was all open blocking. So there's a lot of engineering things that went behind this portion of it. And so we looked at the canopy, enclosing the entrance, the furniture, the lighting packages, the different facade, the plantings, the border on the walkway, and the hardscape bricks. The other thing you may recall, when you first used to walk in, that concrete was all, had a lot of cracking, had a lot of issues, and we fixed all of those items. And so given the project budget, we did have the first change order, which was a credit to the city. There were some coordination items at the entrance that we had to have 2 openings for fire code requirements. And so change order 1 was a credit to the city for $5,000. Change order 2 is what we heard about last meeting, and that was a $15,000 change order. And it's because during the construction of the project, we came across cisterns, and that's the term they use in the change orders. And so here, this is the plan view of the construction site. These are the walls, the back wall. This right here is where the stage is going, and then that square, that square, that square, and that square is where the foundations were going to be laid. And you can see right there was one of the cisterns, and the other cistern was located at that location. When they were discovered, flowable backfill was provided to allow us to have a firm foundation. And so that was change order 2. We did have a third change order, and that was in the delay of the permitting to get the fire marshal to sign off on it. So those were the 3 change orders that were performed for this project. And then, of course, we bragged about this quite a bit. We did receive a $50,000 grant that went towards this project. And so given the project budget, given the change orders, the city did an excellent job to go ahead and provide project coordination for this project. And so here is the ground ribbon cutting ceremony. We had representatives from T-Mobile that were present, representative from the architect. This was our CRA coordinator, Susan, who was also the project manager to deliver this project. And of course, we had the mayor, vice mayor, commissioners, and it was a wonderful event, and that's something we can hear and celebrate. So that's a summary of Theater Park, again, showing the excellence in project delivery for the execution of this project for the city of Alachua. Mayor, thank you.
These change orders, they were approved through yourself on these?
So the change orders are signed off by the contractor, signs off on them. The engineer of record signs off on them. It gets reviewed by our compliance and risk management, and the city manager signs off on them.
And so the financial policy amendment we passed last meeting, that was to formalize, or I guess remove the ambiguity about you being able to basically approve these change order requests.
Yes, it clarified that process. Yes, sir.
Right, thank you.
Mr. Valadares, let me express my highest commendations to you, to Susan, to the staff. Theater Park is extraordinary. I love it. We're so grateful to T-Mobile for the grant, and we know there's more greater things to come. So thank you.
Thank you.
I'm just going to echo that. And the children that go through the years, both my children did their social pictures there, their 6th grade social, their 8th grade social, their prom, and now it's even more beautiful than it ever was before, with also some enhancement with lighting and things like that, so they can do those things at night. So again, thank you to T-Mobile and everybody that's been part of this project. It's fantastic. It's absolutely breathtaking.
Mayor, thank you.
And I also thank you as well. I think it looks so beautiful. I remember a long time ago when it was a theater. Now, it's tremendous job. Good job. Right. All right, we'll move to item C. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Attorney. My name is Rodolfo Valadares, and now we'll be discussing the progress with live streaming. So we'll go through this presentation briefly, and then when we get to the points that we've had additional information, I'll present that at a better pace. But again, the purpose of live streaming is to improve public accessibility, to expand the access to the residents, to expand access to our seniors, or individuals with disability, and our residents that are in the primary care responsibility. We also want to enhance our civic engagement. We want to make it easier for the residents to stay informed and to support the modern communication expectations to align with the city. That was the goal. And then these are the tasks that we identified to allow us to achieve the goal. So the first task is to survey the residents, to conduct a survey, to analyze the results, and present the findings to the City Commission. The second one is to look at the equipment, to provide an accounting of what we have, and to make any recommendations on how it needs to be improved, to provide those technical specifications, to provide any costs associated with their recommendations, to assist us in writing a policy for record retention to make sure we're in line with current standards, and to provide O&M manuals and training on the equipment that we have. That was the goal. That is the goal. And so the City of Alachua wrote a scope of work. We provided bid documents for it. Here's an example of the scope of work. It identifies the purpose, the task we just went through in detail. Additionally, it provides a schedule. And so we identify the schedule on when this will be done. We define the deliverables, the proposal requirements, and the evaluation criteria. And then we define what the basis of the bid and how it would be awarded. And we provide a bidding schedule that allows all the bidders to bid and compare those. The bid was advertised on the 11th. On the 12th day of November, we had a pre-bid meeting on the 19th, when we had a bid opening in December, and nobody submitted a bid on the project. So we went ahead and contacted the vendor, and we are in negotiations with the vendor. So this is where we left off last time I gave an update. And so what we've done today is, during the negotiations with that vendor, yes, they identified the operation manual and training they can easily do, the record retention, the cost estimate, the technical specifications, the equipment recommendation. All those fell under the purview of the work they do. The survey was not something that it's not part of their business. That's not what they do. So the survey was the one outlier that we had to address. And so city staff went ahead and put together a survey, and we'll go over the survey right now. And so the survey is presented in this way. So it's live streaming city commission meetings. And so we have a paragraph with the intent. We identify one of the section as awareness for the participation. The first question is, before receiving this survey, were you aware that the city commission meetings are open to the public? And it's yes or no. The second question is, have you ever attended a city commission meeting in person? Again, yes or no. If you have not attended, what is the main reason for attending? The meeting times conflict with my schedule, transportation or mobility challenges, or I was not aware of the meeting dates, or other they can fill in. The other category gauges the interest of live streaming. And the question 4 is, if city commission meetings are available via live streaming, how likely would you be to watch it? Very likely, somewhat likely, not sure, or unlikely. Question 5 is, how would you prefer to view the meetings? Watch it live, watch a recording later, both live and recorded, I will not watch, or some other. Question 6 is, how frequently would you expect to watch it? Most meetings, occasionally, or rarely. The third category gauges access to viewing preferences. Number 7 would be, where would you most likely access live streaming? City website, YouTube, Facebook, mobile device, or other. The following question is, which feature would you make live streaming most useful to you? Archived videos, agenda timestamps, closed captioning, or other. And then the final category is community impact and funding. Do you believe live streaming meetings would increase your involvement in local government? Yes or no? And if implemented, how should this service be funded? Use existing city budget funds, relocate funds from other programs, support a small increase in fees or taxes, or I do not support funding the service. And then there's a space for additional comments. And so this is the survey that staff has put together. And our approach is to utilize our utility billing to get the survey out to the residences. And then the other thing we're doing is we're working with Optimal Station and using their marketing skills on how we can also reach our residents with this survey. And so that's our goal, path forward on how to get that survey out to our residents. And so that's the update for live streaming for this commission.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Thank you. And my apologies for being tardy. I'll explain why later. Thank you, Rodolfo, for the presentation. Recently, I just happened to come across it. There was an article, it was late February in the Alligator. And on the front page, it was timely. And I wrote down what the title was. It was UF faculty, and maybe Commissioner Fletcher can speak to this since you work at UF. UF faculty scramble to make online content compliant with accessibility guidelines. So I just find it interesting. We are not the only entity that is not just aware of accessibility guidelines, but are trying to figure out how to get to that point and make it viable for all of our residents, or in UF's case, their faculty and students. And I just wanted to, that was more of a statement than a question, but I just wanted to bring that up, that I noticed, I did pick up on that. So even though I know some of our municipalities in North Florida have live streaming, I've noticed that they're not, they don't appear to be 100% compliant with accessibility guidelines, and that's their decision, and I'm not here to judge. But I personally, sitting here in the dais, feel like we need to be sure that we have everything done right and correctly. And it appears to me that we're taking the right step, moving in the right steps, moving forward with progress. So thank you.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I did present this before, so I did rush through those slides. Yes, ma'am. It's very important to be inclusive of all. ADA compliance is something that we are focused on, and those are the requirements we want to make sure we do correctly.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, the WCAG, those guidelines were established in 2024. That's when it was first proposed out there, with an implementation for entities that serve populations larger than 50,000 to have full compliance in 2026, with entities serving less than that in 2027. I guess this brings up a question on our own website and our own resources on whether they are currently in compliance with the current standard. Do we know if they are currently in compliance with those standards?
As far as I'm aware, yes, we're in compliance with those standards.
Okay. That's pretty much what's going on with there. I can't speak for why people are rushing or why people are not rushing on it. Working in tech, I do know there is a certain amount of lift when dealing with like web pages and that stuff. UF is a very, very large entity, and working in one of their data departments, there's a lot of stuff that they have to go through and validate on this. So I can't speak for why they're rushing or why the Alligator would do that. But for ourselves, I think we're pretty on point with this, since we're in a much smaller size. We have a much longer runway on being in compliance.
I was just going to say thank you, for the presentation. I love the idea of it going out in a mailer. I think that's what communication and how they return. Well, I think we'll get an idea.
Thank you again. And I love the short survey. I'm hopeful that people will respond, because when you send folks a extensive long survey, I'm including me, sometimes it's difficult to get it done and get it back in. So thank you for making it concise, short, and simple.
Will it have if it's in the mailer, will it have something for somebody to fill it out and automatically send it back in, or are they going to have to do all that themselves?
So our path forward is to provide return mailing, and so we will be coordinating with our utility billing, sending it out, and then we've been reaching out to the post office on how that's done. And so preliminary, all mail outs will have it, and we only get charged for the folks who mail it back. So we don't have to pay for everyone who's not going to respond back. And then we also want to team up with Optimal Station. They are very good at engaging folks to fill out surveys, have reward recognition, and so forth. And so we've reached out to them. We'll be working with them, and that's just another facet that we can use. All going out in utility billing, so we'll time it with the cycles, and then there's some extra special things we can coordinate to get energy on folks to do the survey with Optimal Station. So that's our goal, and that's how we're moving forward.
Do we, Mr. Mayor, do
Thank
we
you.
plan on using our own social media channels for this?
Given our efforts right now, these are the two most effective way we view for doing it. So we use the utility billing, and we're going to use Optimal Station for the marketing.
So, like, not making a Facebook post that links to the survey?
We'll coordinate all that. Again, I'm getting ahead of myself. So we got the survey done. If the survey's to your pleasure, we'll move forward. And so we'll look at the best approach for the mail out and for, again, Optimal Station to help us with the marketing.
Mr. Mayor, a question just to tie in with what Commissioner Fletcher said. I mean, we could use social media just to give everyone a heads up to look for it in their bills. I think that
Yes,
would
ma'am.
probably be appropriate. So
Yes,
just
ma'am.
an idea.
I stand on the shoulders of giants. So staff is so wonderful. And so I'm able to present the summaries. They have strategies in place. I'm sure, yes, all those things have been considered.
One last comment. I think it would be of great importance if we partner or collaborate with our faith-based communities as well. When I look back there and looked at Pastor Miller, because many churches could assist us in reminding folks, let's get the survey in, let's get the survey in. So thank you.
Ms. Mayor will do. Thank you.
You have anything? We thank you for that, and I like the idea of mailing it all out because, see, I think that'll be a better, safe way and feasible way to do it. We mail it out because if we put it on the internet or whatever, it's hard to tell who's doing the survey. So I like the idea of mailing it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we have public comments from the citizen on the subject, not the agenda. Move right along. We'll move right along to item 4A, public hearing in the ordinance.
Mr. Mayor, while Brian is coming up, I'll go ahead and read this. This is a legislative proceeding on this particular ordinance, and I'll go ahead and read it for you. And at the appropriate time, we'll put the motion on the floor. This is ordinance number 26-04, an ordinance of the City of Alachua, Florida, relating to the small-scale amendment of the City of Alachua Comprehensive Plan Future Land Use Map, amending the future land use map classification from agriculture to commercial on a more than 4.17 acre subject property generally located south of U.S. Highway 441 and west of Northwest 173rd Street, County Road 235A. Tax parcel number is 03042-052-007, repealing all ordinances in conflict, providing severability, and providing an effective date. The appropriate motion at the appropriate time is to pass ordinance 26-04 as read by title only.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, Mr. City Attorney, and City Manager. Brian Thomas, AICP, the Planning and Community Development Director for the City of Alachua. Tonight we were looking at Ordinance 2604, application PSSC 25-0001. It is an application for a small-scale comprehensive plan amendment to the future land use map on approximately 4.17 acres. Subject property is generally located west of 173rd Street, otherwise known as County Road 235A, and just south of the US 441 intersection. Applicant has also submitted a companion application for a site-specific amendment to the official zoning atlas, which proposes to amend their zoning on the subject property from agricultural to commercial intensive. As you can see, this is the subject property outlined in the dashed line there. This is actually the corner where the Wawa is, Firestone, and Chick-fil-A over on this side here. This is the same development, a piece of the same development, basically. The existing future land use designation is agriculture, which provides for what you would expect in an agricultural designated property. Allows for up to 0.2 dwelling units or 1 dwelling unit per 5 acres. It allows for a 50% floor area ratio, which could go up to, at maximum, build a 90,823 square feet. And then, of course, there's the list of typical uses that you would find on an agricultural parcel. And again, there's the existing future land use map that shows it's basically a donut hole of agricultural surrounded by, you've got commercial to the north, moderate density residential to the south, also commercial to the west, a little bit of medium density residential on both the east and the west. The proposed future land use designation is commercial. Commercial land use category establishes and provides for general commercial uses, as well as more intensive commercial and highway commercial uses. Permits up to 15 dwelling units per acre, so a total of potentially 63 dwelling units if it was used for that purpose. Permits up to a 0.85 floor area ratio with a maximum potential of just over 154,000 square feet. And the typical, of course, uses in commercial are what you would expect: retail sales, services, recreation, entertainment, commercial shopping centers, etc. Again, that's the just shows the change requested to commercial. There was a neighborhood meeting held on February 13th of 2025. The neighborhood meeting isn't actually a requirement of a small-scale land use change, but because they had a companion rezoning with it, it was there. It could be discussed at the neighborhood meeting for the rezoning. Materials submitted by the applicant indicate there were 2 people in attendance and that they both expressed support for the project. And the meeting summary is available in the application materials. Staff did do a urban sprawl analysis based on the requirements of Chapter 163-3177. Staff evaluated 13 primary urban sprawl indicators and 8 urban form criteria and concluded that the proposed amendment does not constitute an incidence of urban sprawl. Staff also evaluated for comprehensive plan consistency, looking at the specific goals and objectives of the future land use element, transportation, community facilities, and conservation open space elements. The evaluation for those specific goals and objectives is also included in the staff report. That's just your general map showing our comprehensive plan roadway segments. Environmental conditions analysis was conducted, and staff did not find any issues with environmental suitability. On February 10th, 2026, Planning and Zoning Board did find the small-scale comprehensive plan amendment for Alachua Santa Fe Crossing Phase 2, application PSSC 25-0001, to be consistent with the City of Alachua Comprehensive Plan, voted unanimously 5-0 to transmit the application to the City Commission with a recommendation to approve. And staff also recommends the City Commission find the small-scale comprehensive plan amendment submitted by professional engineering consultants on behalf of Alachua 441-235 LLC to be consistent with the City of Alachua Comprehensive Plan and to approve Ordinance 26-04 on first reading and to schedule the second and final reading for March 23rd of 2026. The applicant is here with a short presentation if you'd like, or to answer questions, whichever your preference is. Laser pointer if you want it.
I'm Scott Batterson. I reside at 304 Santiago Drive in Winter Park, Florida. I've had the opportunity to work up here starting about April of 2023, and I had the most wonderful experience, to tell you the truth. I don't want to take up much of your time, but you guys really deserve it. And quite frankly, it was the utilities director at the time that I hit it off with. I came in at a time where we were going to deliver a Wawa and a Chick-fil-A and a Firestone and hopefully a car wash here pretty soon. And, you know, we always run into our different problems and struggles when you do on the construction. But this place worked with us so well, collaboratively. And I give a lot of credit to your city manager. He's risen to the top. He talked about standing on broad shoulders of staff. He's a humble man, and he's been very helpful to us. And, you know, I'm third generation Floridian myself. I had the pleasure of moving my son on the Broward dorm where I lived. I'll be 50 in April. And I think this place is fantastic. Having seen cycles of growth come out of the Orlando core, it's very refreshing to get up here where you guys are doing smart growth and making good sense of it and planning appropriately. So I don't have a whole lot to add other than we really appreciate staff. Really enjoyed working with Brian. I want you to know he worked on a Saturday with me for about 3 hours, maybe 4, because of some last minute stuff that had to get done to keep us on schedule. As you can see, we were starting, that was our second community meeting on February 13. So some of that was on us, but we would love a chance to see what might be. We don't know at this time. No one's really interested in agricultural property, but in keeping with the comprehensive plan, if we could get this other 4.17 acres that's adjacent to match our existing commercial intensive and commercial future land use, we'd be very grateful. I'm a professional engineer by training as well. I followed my father's footsteps, so I can answer any questions about the site that you might have. Other than just with the ag piece, we don't have a development program at this time.
Mr. Mayor, I guess this is a question for our planning director. So I'm looking over here, segment 6 on US 441, that segment. For the projected impacts, we're looking at that road at 104.26% over capacity. Is that with this change or without this change?
Mr. Mayor, given that we don't know the actual use that's going to be proposed on the site, we don't really know for sure. That, I believe, is without this intended use. And so if you look at the maximum potential for the proposed use, it would still have a fairly small impact, but it could have an impact on segment 6. Primarily the impact would be on segment 7, which it's located on. But segment 7 is not nearly as constrained as segment 6.
And then we jump over to segment 17 along 235A.
Sorry, I said 17, you're right.
Because that one is at, what does AADT stand for again? Like that's the average?
Average daily trips.
Okay, so the average daily trips on that has a negative capacity of about 2,000 trips. And so we're over 100 and we're over that by 13%. So we're rocking at 113% there. And then if we look at our peak hour, we're running at 120% of capacity on that road, that segment. So what I'm trying to understand here is if we move this to community or commercial intensive, those numbers that we're seeing right now, those are the current, those would be the maximum allowable.
If the maximum allowable density or intensity use were permitted, those are what the numbers would be. So those would actually be evaluated for concurrency at the site planning stage. At this higher level stage, nothing is actually permitted. It's just changing the land use and ultimately zoning for different future uses. But those considerations as far as concurrency and capacity will be addressed at the site plan stage. So if, for instance, the applicant was to come in with a site plan for a use that was very intensive, then there would be mitigations that would have to be provided by the applicant to address those concerns too.
We're looking at those roads already, and everyone already hears how bad those roads are in terms of traffic. Right here, the LOS on that is D ratings for all of them. So I'm just trying to get a better idea of like if we do this and we keep on doing this, because I think it said that under the I guess the southern portion, the property underneath it, that's a planned development already. There's right, it's the PDR. I think that was the zoning on it.
Yes.
Okay. So there's already planned development right there that I'm assuming is taking up a bit of that concurrency, or we're going to expect even higher over that 100%.
Not at this time, because concurrency is reserved at a different stage, further along in the development. So at the PD stage, it was not reserved yet.
So if not to get too sidetracked, sorry, but if we prove this, we're over 100%, right? And then we'll figure out the actual numbers when we do the site plan and solve concurrency there. But the planned development underneath that would automatically, if they wanted to build anything, that would already go over that 100%, that 120 on those two segments, right?
Again, as they come in with their actual development plans, that's when we would evaluate the impact on the roadway and require mitigations based on those impacts for both of the projects.
So we already know now that based off of what is zoned there and what we're trying to zone there, and if people develop based on those intended uses, we need to start figuring out a way of alleviating that. That's what I'm starting to think here is that maybe we have to talk to the county of like figuring out how we widen those road segments or something like that, because it seems like if we give everybody what they want to build, then those are going to be F rating streets.
Mr. Mayor, this conversation does highlight a problem, or an issue rather, that the city of Alachua does have, which is we're bisected by two state roads, which we don't actually have jurisdiction over, as well as a number of county roads, which we also don't have jurisdiction over. We do have the opportunity to work in concert with the county for roadway improvements on county roads, and with the state with roadway improvements on state roads, but we don't actually have control of those roads.
Yeah, because what I'm seeing here is that is literally just like ag land that didn't get that seems like it got sold after everyone else got their pieces and they did the zoning on it, and so now it's a pocket, I would say. So it doesn't make sense to me personally to keep it as ag land and keep that in line. But I think we as a city need to start having these conversations with the state and the county on saying, hey, we have this development coming in. That PD is not there yet. The other one's not there yet. But we need to start having these conversations on getting our roads in much better condition for this, even though we don't own it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I'm just going to make one statement, Mr. Mayor. For many years, we have had this conversation with the county about roads. So this is not new. As a matter of fact, usually the top item on our agenda are roads. The joint meeting with the county, so know that we're striving to get help, but it doesn't always come immediately as we would want it to come. Thank you.
And Mr. Mayor, Mr. City Manager, we do have a joint meeting with them scheduled for later this year. Am I correct?
May 18th.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay. Mrs. City Manager. Okay.
Sorry, I brought it up last time.
May
It's May
18th. Okay,
18th, and
so
I've been
we do
spreading
have
the
a
word.
joint meeting. So I think staff has heard us loud and clear, Vice Mayor, Commissioner Fletcher. I think that will be a topic on that meeting.
But I do agree that this is definitely something that, we need to somehow, put the foot down or accountability or something. I'll make a motion. I move that based upon the substantial evidence that's presented before this commission and the staff's recommendation, this commission finds this application for small-scale comprehensive amendment for Professional Engineering Consultant LLC on behalf of Alachua 441-235 LLC to be consistent with the City of Alachua's comprehensive plan, and one, approve ordinance 26-04 upon its first reading and schedule second and final reading on March 23rd, 2026.
Second.
It's been moved in second. We have comments from the public on the motion. If not, we'll take a vote. I'll start with Commissioner Fletcher.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Best of luck on what you're able to do with this property. Hoping it's not going to be another car wash. That's my big hope. Is I think we already got a few of them in our city, but I'll have to vote aye.
Commissioner Williams.
I would not I wouldn't disagree with the car wash sentiment, but I'm voting aye.
Commissioner Wingerson.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shirley Brown.
Aye.
Mayor Welch. Aye. Ayes have it. So, all righty. We'll move to item B.
Mr. Mayor, this item is quasi-judicial, so at this time, if our clerk can come swear in any witnesses, please.
Mr. Mayor, you've got to ask if anyone is going to be speaking on this item. They need to stand to be sworn in.
I'm sorry, I was muted. If anyone plans to speak on this item, please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you so much.
This time, we'll start with Commissioner Williams as to whether there has been any ex parte communications regarding this matter.
None.
None.
No.
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 Mr. Mayor, with that, I'll go ahead and read this item by title only, then we'll have introduction of the item by staff. This is ordinance number 26-05. As we said, this is the zoning component of the matter we just heard about. This is an ordinance of the City of Alachua, Florida, relating to the site-specific amendment to the official zoning atlas of the City of Alachua, amending the official zoning atlas from agricultural A to commercial intensive CI on a more than 4.17 acre subject property generally located on U.S. Highway 441 and west of Northwest 173rd Street, County Road 235A. The tax parcel is 03042-052-007, repealing all ordinances of conflict, providing severability, providing an effective date. The appropriate motion at the appropriate time is to pass ordinance number 26-05 as read by title only.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney. So as stated, this is ordinance 26-05, ordinance for application PR 25-0001, which is the request also by Professional Engineering Consultants, LLC, as the applicant on behalf of Alachua 441-235 LLC, which is the property owner, for consideration of an amendment to the City of Alachua official zoning atlas. The proposed amendment would change the zoning designation from agricultural A to commercial intensive CI on approximately a 4.17 acre subject parcel. Subject property is generally located, as we've stated before, the west side of 173rd and County Road 235A and south of the US 441 intersection. It's currently planted primarily in pine trees, and it's the companion to the small-scale comprehensive plan amendment that you just approved on first reading. Again, there's the picture of the subject site, which is a little bit of an old picture. Doesn't depict all the development that's been going on around it. The existing zoning district is agricultural, which stated before allows for up to 1 dwelling unit per 5 acres and a 50% floor area ratio. Typical uses, of course, are single-family residential as well as other agricultural production-related activities. There's your zoning map, zoning atlas map of the segment. As you can see, it's surrounded on the west and the north by commercial intensive, and on the south by PDR, which is a planned development residential only. Proposed zoning district of commercial intensive would basically permit up to 15 dwelling units per acre for a total of 63 potential units. Permits up to 0.85 floor area ratio. Again, a little over 154,000 potential square feet. Things don't usually develop to their full potential because there's not actually enough space on the property to make that happen, unless you go vertical, and that gets expensive quickly. So usually it's much less than that. And again, typical uses would be retail, commercial establishments, office parks, healthcare facilities, etc. And this would be the zoning atlas if you approve the amendment. Again, the neighborhood meeting for this parcel was held on February 13th of 2025. Had 2 members of the public present, which both expressed, according to the notes on the meeting, approval, or support rather. We've established in the previous presentation that staff did find the application for both the comprehensive or the small scale amendment as well as the rezoning to be consistent with the City of Alachua comprehensive plan. Again, the environmental conditions analysis did not demonstrate any concern from environmental impacts on the site. When we look at compliance with the land development regulations, we analyze a number of different aspects of the comp plan, the land development regulations. And so, consistent with comprehensive plan, as we've discussed, the evaluation finding is that it is consistent with the City of Alachua comprehensive plan. Consistent with ordinances, basically staff did not find any ordinance that the amendment would be in conflict with. Provides for a logical development pattern. As you've seen through the maps, the surrounding area is essentially developed out in the similar fashion that they're requesting. So it wouldn't conflict with any of that. Premature development, as demonstrated, that's already on the corner that's been developed with the Wawa, Firestone, and Chick-fil-A, and this would be a complement to that. Incompatible with adjacent lands, it's basically going to be the same zoning as the western and northern side of the property, and there are a number of uses within CI that are compatible with potential residential development to the south. Adverse effect on local character. Staff did not find any evidence that there would be any adverse impact or effect on local character. It would actually blend in with what's being currently developed in the area. Also doesn't deviate from the pattern of development. Staff didn't find any evidence of that. Again, it was evaluated based on the urban sprawl criteria from Chapter 163, 3177, and staff found it not to be encouraging urban sprawl. It rather than creating a spot zoning situation, it actually would eliminate a spot zoning situation that's evolved over time as the properties around it have rezoned and started to develop. And so it's kind of a donut hole of agricultural surrounded by commercial and residential uses. Public facilities, it's situated within the community potable water and wastewater service area, and any development on the property would be required to connect to those services. As we stated, we didn't find any evidence of environmental potential, negative potentials for that particular site. On February 10th, 2026, the Planning and Zoning Board did find the site specific amendment to the official zoning atlas for Alachua Santa Fe Crossing Phase 2 to be consistent with the Alachua Comprehensive Plan and Land Development Regulations, and voted 4-1 to transmit the application to the City Commission with a recommendation to approve. Staff's recommendation, therefore, is also for the City Commission to find the site-specific amendment to the official zoning atlas for Alachua 441-2235 LLC to be consistent with the City of Alachua Comprehensive Plan and consistent with the in compliance with the city's land development regulations, and to 1, approve ordinance 26-05 upon first reading, and 2, schedule the second and final reading for March 23rd of 2026. And once again, Mr. Patterson is here to also answer questions or give you his small presentation.
Yeah, he can do that. It's only fair, right?
He created it. Might as well give him an opportunity to show it to us.
Scott
And you
Patterson,
took the
304 Senator
time
Drive.
to come. Thank you.
Yes, of course. My presentation isn't much greater than what's been provided previously. There's a PowerPoint, so I'm happy to walk you guys through it or be respectful of your time. Obviously, we concur with staff and appreciate your last vote. This would be in keeping with the comprehensive plan and match the existing zoning to the north and the west, and is compatible with the surrounding districts. And planning director did note that this is currently a incompatible spot zoning in its existing conditions. So you're actually remitting something that you don't want in planning world. So I would ask for your support, and I'm here to answer any questions you might have.
Commissioner Fletcher?
I was going to ask Brian some questions.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Just to jog my memory on this, when we look at, I guess, the future land use map, when we say commercial, right, there's a bunch of categories under, correct?
There are a lot of potential uses that could fall under commercial, yes.
Okay, so commercial intensive is just one of them.
It's one of the zoning categories that would be allowed under commercial land use, yes.
And what are some of the other commercials, like community commercial?
Basically, any of the commercial categories could be under that.
If we go with community intensive, just to try and understand this, things that can go there are more gas stations or auto shops or
commercial. Mr. Mayor, commercial intensive is just kind of what it implies. It's a little bit more intensive. The things that are allowed under it are a little bit more intensive. So, for instance, you could do more automotive oriented type of development as opposed to a community commercial or some other community or a commercial category, lesser commercial category.
So like car washes.
Well, it'll be a little while before it comes before the Planning and Zoning Board, but there will, I can almost guarantee there will not be a car wash on this property, because Mr. Patterson also has another project on the last remaining vacant parcel right there for, or is it? right there. Yeah, that one right next, between Firestone and the Chick-fil-A for the car wash. So I don't think they would put one in such close proximity.
Thank you. And I just have a question for Scott. When we're looking at, when we look at, like V3 capital, it's a capital fund that they're a form of investments. They come in and we do like senior living facilities and other types of like property deals and that stuff, correct?
Yes, it sounds like you've done your homework.
I try to. So are we like, just for me to like understand the lay of the land in your industry, are we looking at like more community, not community, commercial type properties are what we're looking at developers are wanting to like focus more on now?
In this particular circumstance, I think a commercial use will be the highest and best use.
Not talking about this, just in general. I want to get a feel of what's going on because I noticed with like housing developments, the construction has been slowing down, and I'm trying to like just understand like when people are coming to our community, what they're looking at, building our economy up.
Oh, yes, I have some, I guess, some opinions on that. It would start with probably removing the transportation elements out of your comprehensive plan for jurisdictions of the DOT and the county. Certainly working with the county on trying to be proactive when they're not going to turn over a roadway segment like 235A. But you will eventually need improvements on it. We were glad to do our part, which actually supported the fire station as well for the county. Because of their budgetary concerns, and we had hoped to do even more with the planned residential to our south, but that's been approved for some time now before I even started 3-4 years ago, and for whatever reason hasn't taken off. I'll note that in the bigger schemes of my career, the city of Orlando in particular, the entire limits are a transportation concurrency exemption area. So I don't expect you guys to be the city of Orlando anytime soon, or hopefully never, frankly. I like who you are. But, there are certain elements that you sacrifice with growth and development and urbanism. And one of them is the time it takes to go down the street. And sometimes that's expanded by 2 minutes, and that's an acceptable amount by the city. And right now, the DOT is kind of determining that with your 441 corridor, and the county is kind of determining that with 235A. So, it'd be my recommendation to maybe think about pulling those things out of your comprehensive plan if you don't have jurisdiction on them. Now, that's just me seeing years and dinner time conversations with my father, who was also in the business, and then seeing different cycles. When 2007 was crazy times, and then my dad lost his company of 130 employees that was doing 14 million in 2010. So I've seen it all. That's etched in my skull. I know that here's some annexations that didn't work out. And I think, having a pause at times is part of the right cycle. But ultimately, when you have the right utility structure in place, the right planning, the right people in place, you can trust what's best for your city. But I would definitely make sure that you are allowing the environments to be more capitalistic where they can move and less regulation. I hope that answers your question. It was certainly a lot.
I appreciate all viewpoints on this. So I appreciate the
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion. A move that based upon the competent and substantial evidence, the presentation before this commission and staff's recommendation, this commission find the application for a site-specific amendment to the official zoning atlas for Alachua 441 235 LLC to be consistent with the City of Alachua Comprehensive Plan and in compliance with the city's land development regulations, and approve ordinance 26-05 upon first reading and schedule second and final reading for March 23rd, 2026.
I'll second.
It's been moved in second. We'll have comments, public comments on the motion. If not, we'll take a vote. I'll start with Commissioner Williams,
Aye.
Commissioner Fletcher,
Aye.
Commissioner Ringerson,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shirley Brown,
Aye.
Mayor Welch, aye.
Mayor, the next item on the agenda is a resolution. I'll go ahead and read that by title only. This is Resolution 26-04. A resolution of the City of Alachua, Florida, amending the fiscal year 2025-2026 general fund budget for the receipt of unanticipated revenues, increasing the general fund of the City of Alachua Police Department budget to appropriate revenues and expenses relating to Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant Award received from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, providing an effective date. Appropriate motion is to pass Resolution 26-04 as read by title only.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney. Mr. Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, Commissioners, Mr. City Manager, Mr. City Attorney, Robert Bonetti, Finance and Administrative Services Director. This item, as was stated in the resolution, is a grant received from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. We typically receive one of these, at least one of these every year. It's a JAG, what they refer to as a JAG grant, for Justice Assistant Grant. This grant is in the amount of $14,841.25. Since we don't budget in cents, we round it up to $14,842. The purpose of this grant is to purchase a trailer to allow them to move things like their ATV around. Also to buy 2 pepper ball launchers and to buy 2 pistol shields. With those items, they usually approximate, they're really close to what they request and receive every year, so they're pretty good. Any overages will be absorbed by their budget, and I mean absorbed. This grant is on a reimbursement basis. And therefore, a resolution is needed to appropriate the funds so that they can expend them and fulfill the requirements of the grant. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to entertain them.
If there's no questions.
Oh,
Nope. I wasn't sure, Jacob.
yeah. So I recall last year we got one of these as well, right?
Correct.
So do we price out these things and then JAG will look at all like the grant applications and then they will divvy out the amounts that way?
That is correct.
Okay. Is this something the police department likes to celebrate? Like, hey, we got this we got this grant, to like make our police department better.
I don't know that they like to celebrate.
Well,
I mean, sometimes,
I
sometimes they buy pistols on grants, and some people would look at that as, but
maybe you don't have to send the specifics, but
but this does serve to
but I think it's
alleviate some of the city's burden.
right. It's being fiduciary responsible by like looking at all opportunities of funding for alleviating city costs. So I think that's the
That
way
is
we're
correct.
looking here as a commission. So congrats to them.
I get to do the dirty work here, which is come in front of you.
I'll move to adopt resolution 26-04.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Now we have comments on the motion from the public. If not, we'll take a vote. This time I'll start with Commissioner Fletcher.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Rigginson.
Big Blue, aye.
Vice Mayor Shirley Brown.
Congratulations. Aye.
Likewise, aye. Thank you. We'll move to item B.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Attorney. My name is Rodolfo Valderas, and then this evening we'll be discussing the solar purchase power agreement with the City of Alachua. And so we entered into the solar power purchase agreement in June of 2023. We had an amendment to that solar purchase power in August, which increased the rate that was proposed initially. We had an amendment to the solar power purchase agreement in 24, which delayed the schedule for this project. And then I came before you in 2025 in July, and we were able to negotiate a better transition whenever decommissioning of the solar, and they were able to add items in reference to the finance. And so in summary overview, when it comes to power, we have three segments. The first is generation, the folks who create the power. We have transmission, that's when you drive down I-75 and you see all those tall structures. And then you have the step down to the transformer, and you have substations that get distributed to the city. You have the city portion of the utility. So the end, the ratepayer, as you turn on the lights, has all these items associated with it. The costs associated with the city, with our personnel, hurricane response, overhead, all the infrastructure in place. The transmission lines, again, as you travel, you see those large, tall transmission, and then the folks who generate the power. And so looking at the power generation, about 94% of the power generated in the state of Florida is through natural gas. And so as you look at the price for natural gas, it fluctuates quite a bit. And you can see how the global market affects us today. And so that's the conversations you see on the news. So as the natural gas price varies, the cost to produce that, and that's built into our rates. And so we get different rates for the different times. And so what we do is we have to schedule in advance with our power generators, let them know how much power we're forecasting and so forth. And we do that twice. We have two substations, we have two different bulk power providers, two different transmission providers. And so we do that twice. So how well does the city perform in these duties? And so looking back from June 2024 and 2025, I could grab the exact same information to date and it'll be the same. However, this has been presented to you before. I'm using the same numbers as before because I'm going to talk about how this progressed forward. So this is how much a residential bill rates come into play. And looking from right to left, you'll see a couple names. Ocala. Is that Ocala? Ocala. And as you keep on going down, you'll see Key West, you'll see Gainesville, our neighbors. This is the cost associated with it. You'll see Quincy, Newberry, and you keep on going, Orlando. And when you see Alachua, we are the cheapest rate power provider for residents. So that's something we take great pride in. It shows that we do a very good work and all the things we discussed is in play. So when we review our all-in bulk power costs, this is the bulk power cost associated with how we're performing within the city of Alachua. So with this in mind, there are three goals we looked at when we looked at the solar planning for consideration. The three were economic, environmental, and the community benefit. And so looking at just the economics, it provided us a predictable energy cost, and there was a long-term savings associated with it. At that time, the power purchase rate was $45 a megawatt. And when we looked at other sister cities, solar projects, Jacksonville had 54, this one had 58, City of Bartow had 55, City of Tallahassee had 50. So we had a good rate negotiation. And again, looking at that table on the all-in bulk power cost, at that time, the rate for the bulk power is 45, and these are all the months that the city would have benefited from that lower rate, and there would have been savings for it. So economically, it made sense. When it comes to environmental, again, 74% of the power, I was misstating. So 74% of the power comes from natural gas, and there's environmental benefits associated with it. For this plant, for 1 year, carbon dioxide would have removed 5,800 tons. It would have been equivalent to 600,000 gallons of gas. Tree seedlings, it's 96,000 trees growing from year 1 to 10. That's the global impact that would have been done. The oil consumed would have been 13,000 barrels and so forth. So when it came to environmental, there was an environmental benefit associated with it. Community benefit, it would have been smart governance. It would have been forward thinking. It would have attracted other economic folks to look at our area for thinking ahead. So that's where we were. So all this I just showed you really quickly, you've seen before. So what has changed? And so what has changed is since that time, we have looked at the solar resource analysis. So we looked at the shading impacts, the availability. We did perform a preliminary system layout with design concepts, the orientation of the arrays. We looked at the interconnection coordination to make sure our grid had the capacity and the upgrade requirements for it. Going through environmental and permitting review, the wetland review was done, grading was looked at. We did geotech testing for the soils to confirm the right foundations. We did an electrical wiring design for the protection of the system. We were reviewing the financial models, and we're in the construction planning for scheduling the equipment to be purchased and so forth. Out of all those facets, the finances is what ended up popping up on us. And so we did receive the letter from the company we were working with, and the letter addressed a couple items. So first item was, it was their desire to terminate the purchase power documents for both technical and economic non-viability. The reasons for the determination of non-viability for technical and economic considerations include the inability to receive the previously contemplated USDA REAP grant, as well as the inability to receive the USDA loan guarantee to date, given the recent program revisions promulgated by the Trump administration. And so in that letter, they identified the price would go from 45 to 0.15 with a 3% annual escalation rate. So that was the financial consideration they wanted us to look at to move forward. Also, they wanted an extension on the current contract we have in place. So go back and looking at those three things that helped us make the decision, we'll go back to economics. So with the economics, it's basically increasing the price to 3.33, which is 3 1/3. And so converting from kilowatts to megawatts. So we were going from $45 per megawatt hour to $150 per megawatt hour. And then going back and looking at our usage, it would be at a higher rate than we're currently working through with our all-in bulk power cost. And so at this time, given the economics, that box did not get checked. However, the environmental considerations are still valid and the community benefit is still valid. So given that this project is no longer technically and economically viable due to the loss of expected grants and major cost increase, and there's still no assurance from USDA funding to support, meaning the project still remains in financial uncertainty, it is staff's recommendation that we accept the termination of the amended and restated purchase power agreement and related licensing agreement and direct the city manager to issue a formal acknowledgement of the termination pursuant to Section 2C in accordance with the contract. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Those studies that were done, was that paid for by city staff, or was that from the contract holder or the person we were going to enter?
Those costs were not associated with the city. The only cost the city did do was evaluation of our system, which helps supports us understanding our system better.
How long are those studies good for?
Which ones?
Any of them. So say, USDA grants come back within, next year. Do we have all this stuff in place that, say, a different firm or say this company comes back and say, hey, we can actually do it now. We've secured the grant this time, right? The funding is there. Like what type of overhead on getting that ball back rolling are we looking at after we've done this? Pretty much, it looks like we were near the finish line with this guy. What are we looking at, doing the whole thing from scratch again, or what are?
So by accepting the termination, any efforts will have to be restarted from the very beginning. So it'll be presented to the city commission, approved by the city commission, so we'll go through that exercise.
So I mean, the studies, like the geotech studies, the land surveys, all that stuff. That stuff has to get started over again.
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. Well, over time, right? If it happens in a year, things change in a year. So that's the most.
This will be brought to the city commission.
Right. It's the right thing we have to do on that.
No, that was it. Thank you.
I don't feel like we have much of an option on this. You said Bartow is 55 on that or something?
If I recall correctly, correct.
And that was closer to like the higher end of what we've seen around the state, and we're looking at almost 3 times that. Um, so, yeah, let me pull it up. I guess I'll move to accept the termination of the amended and restated power purchase agreement, PPA, and related license agreement, and direct the city manager to issue a formal acknowledgement of the termination pursuant to Section 2C.
I'll second.
It's been moved to second. We'll have public comments on the motion. If not, we'll take a vote. Start with Commissioner Williams,
Aye.
Commissioner Fletcher,
Aye.
Commissioner Ringerson,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shirley Brown,
Aye.
Mayor Welch. Aye. Now we'll move to item C.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Attorney. My name is Rudolph Valderas, and then this evening we'll be discussing the CLEATHER HATHCOCK Community Center. So the CLEATHER HATHCOCK Community Center, located at 15818 Northwest 104th Street, is a city-owned facility historically used for community gathering and events. As the city advances plans for the construction of the new facility, the City Commission has discussed options for the existing building, including demolition or potential repurposing through relocation. To assist the Commission in evaluating these options, and due to the age of the facility, staff commissioned Monarch Design Group to conduct a facility condition and code compliance assessment, and GSE Engineering Consulting to perform a structural observation of the building. These evaluations were intended to assess the building's structural integrity, life safety compliance, accessibility status, and the overall feasibility of continued use or rehabilitation. The assessments identify significant structural deterioration and several code compliance deficiencies. The structural evaluation found moisture-related damage within the crawl space that has impacted portions of the floor framing system, including sagging joints, deteriorated wood members, and corroded roof truss fasteners. The building also lacks modern hurricane tie-down connections, and the existing floor frame does not meet current Florida Building Code load requirements for assembly occupancy. In addition, the facility assessment identified life safety and accessibility concerns, including improper exit signs and the absence of a fire alarm horn and strobe notification devices. The restroom and kitchen areas that do not meet current ADA accessibility standards. Conceptual cost estimates indicate that the structure rehabilitation could range up to $500,000 with additional costs required to address life safety and ADA compliance improvements. Relocation of the building could cost up to $300,000 depending on the relocation scenario. Staff recommends that the City Commission authorize the demolition of the existing CLEATHER HATHCOCK Community Center and continue moving forward with the design of the new facility as currently planned. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
So what I'm hearing here is that we need to keep District 53 at the library based on the current condition of the HATHCOCK Center.
So, Mr. Mayor, yes, I'm very pleased with this board having a proactive view and doing that at that time. Yes, Mr. Mayor.
And I guess until we have a new HATHCOCK Center, based on the results of this, it's best for liability and for the public safety to keep the building closed.
That's correct, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, Rodolfo, what do you need from this board tonight? Could you repeat, please?
If you can make the motion on the floor for the city commission to authorize the demolition of the existing CLEATHER HATHCOCK Community Center and allow us to continue moving forward with the design of the new facility as currently planned.
Okay, thank you.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved to second. We have comments from the public on the motion. If not, we'll take a vote. I will start with Commissioner Williams,
Aye.
Commissioner Fletcher.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I got a question looking at this agenda item. Why was a summary item report not included?
Could you be a bit more specific?
So I'm looking at the web page right here, and I only see two items: limited structural observation (GSC) and limited site assessment memorandum (Monarch).
So, Mr. Mayor, what I did read to you was a printout of the agenda item as the summary was written. I'm sorry if there's something else being displayed currently on the website.
I access the agenda the same way the public would access this, and it's not on here.
We'll check it.
So, because asking for this right now, I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't able to do enough research to make a firm decision on this. So I'm going to have to, there seems to be no notice to the public that this was a conversation we were going to have today. So I'm going to have to vote no.
Mayor, just to clarify, this was on the city commission agenda with staff recommendation with the attachments.
Mr. Mayor, I looked at it this weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. Move for motion. Oh, we vote. So you vote no.
I would be next, Mayor.
Okay.
It would be aye.
Aye.
And Mayor Welch, aye. Ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Ayes have it. Thank you. We'll move to comments from the citizens on the subject, not on the agenda.
My comments are mainly for informational at this time. My name is Tom Tuttle, and I've been working on that project, which would help the community, I believe. I know that it's important that we look after the welfare and well-being of our citizens, our children, and the safety of both. So what I saw was a problem of truck traffic on 235. And I'm proposing in time, not today, a truck route around the city, just like most progressive cities have. So we need a truck route, I think, around Alachua. I've talked to all of the county commissioners, and they are in agreement. I've talked to some people at the Department of Transportation, and they told me the procedures I need to go through. And I've talked to a couple of people on this board here, and it's a matter of just getting everybody informed of what we want to do. Basically, it would be putting a no truck route from 235A north and east on 235 to 441. There's only 1/10 of a mile from the railroad tracks to 441 that would be the state. The county is south and west from there all the way down to 235A. Basically, it would put more traffic onto 235A, but I feel that the commitment's already been made to the distribution center, and the commitment's been made to the residential subdivision developments. You know, we have Savannah Station, a new Fletcher Terraces. And since we've made the commitment to those two entities, and there's more developments going in the distribution center, so we want to look at how we're going to pay for all those people going up 235A. And I propose a proportional fee, just like trucks have to pay if they go out of state. They have to pay a certain amount based on their mileage to that state for their travel on it. And I would think something like that could be done for the distribution center for traveling on 235A. So that's in a nutshell. I'll hand out my brochure to everybody, get a chance to read it, and then in time, we can start looking at it in a more serious way. Any questions?
Mr. Mayor, I'll take the attachment from Tom and I'll make sure it's distributed to this board.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello, Joe Hancock. I know most of you up here, and actually all of you, but I just wanted to make a suggestion that I thought would be useful for us on, we have the comprehensive plan coming up for review, I think in 2027, and there's some things on there that maybe we should look at and addressing as we grow, because we're a dynamic community and we've got some pretty awesome leadership. And I think if we take a pause on allowing future development until we have time to actually review a couple things, because there's some areas in there I think that have allowed some of the nationals to come in that we're seeing across the state, rapidly growing the area and rapidly overdeveloping the areas. And we have a really unique and dynamic community that if we properly look at our comprehensive plan and maybe reevaluate a couple things, such as not allowing homes to be 5.6 feet apart and stuff like that, and we can grow a beautiful community. And just like on 235A, everybody knows there's an issue there and we got a county problem there. It's not ours, it's county. So we need to widen it. We know it's backing everything up. That one that just got approved, if they build something on there and there's more PUDs right next to it, which means right now D.R. Horton can slam homes in there. And so that can really back that up. And we all know that. So I'm not saying we stop growing and this and that, but I think we push the pause button for a second and say, wait a minute, let's reevaluate things, because we're seeing these large developments coming in rapidly across the state. And so they're coming in because hedge fund money's behind it. There's a ton of money. Florida's on sale right now. And so everyone, South Florida's getting full. They're coming here. And so we have a beautiful area and we want to keep it. Even the guy here who's the engineer was saying he loves it here. It's beautiful. It won't stay that long if we don't pause. That's not, like, again, I'm not saying no grow Joe here, but I'm just saying we got to think about it. Slow down just a little bit. Pause. We were seeing lots of ag getting converted, and we need to think about how we're converting it. If we are converting it, then let's make sure what we're converting it to grows us into the dynamic community we want to be. Again, love you all. You're doing a good job.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, and Attorney. My name is Jackson Umis, candidate for City Commission Seat 3. I'd like to echo what the gentleman here just said. Again, it goes back with smart growth. If we're moving things too fast, too quickly, it's going to cause some very serious problems in the future. We need to take a pause, take a look, and look at, especially when the first City Commission meeting I came to, we were voting on a contract from 10 years ago. Again, those type things we need to stop and we need to look at. The commission changes, we have new faces, different things like that. So everybody needs to stop, take a look, and reevaluate some of these contracts that we're trying to push forward. There's time. We control the time with some of this stuff, and we need to be mindful of that type of thing. Also, I wanted to thank the commission for, voting as far as the, sorry, got a lot of things happening right now. But thank the commission for voting as far as the streaming services and doing their due diligence as far as making sure that we're doing everything and getting the word out on Facebook and social media and an electric bill. But then the question is, what about voting at the library? Are we doing the same type of due diligence and making sure people are aware of the change from the HATHCOCK Center to the library and making sure that people are aware of the election April 14th? These are the type things, if we're going to do it, then we need to be kind of consistent in the way that we're doing things, especially getting information out to the public. That's why the public is that's why the public feels certain ways about certain things, because when it comes to this, we're all for it, we're all in, all the information. But when it comes to certain things like the HATHCOCK Center, the voting, which is extremely important, that's how all of you guys got there, extremely important, we're not doing our due diligence and we're not getting the information out to the people. So my ask is that if, as the commission, if you guys can try to make a concerted effort to do a better job about communicating with the public, especially things that are very viable, especially when it comes to something like an election. Thank you.
Thank you. If there be no more comments from the public, we'll have comments from the city manager and the city attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No comment.
No comment.
There be no comments, we'll have discussion, comments from the commissioners.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just jumping back to an earlier point, um, the commission meeting agenda and the materials that go with it, the summary item report with the staff recommended motion to, what was the word? To allow for the destruction, destroy, tear down of the HATHCOCK Center to allow the project to keep moving forward. That is not in the agenda posted on our website where the public access and knows what we're talking about and what we plan on doing. It's not there. So I'd like to make sure that point's clear. It is on what's handed out here, but the people who are looking at these things to know, like, hey, is this something I should show up? Is this something they're going to talk about? They don't know that until they show up right here and see it on the agenda. That is not on the website at this moment right now. There's going to be some change coming to Alachua. Right now, we're looking at 2 school closures. That's what it looks like with the school board, with Irby and Alachua Elementary. To me personally, it seems like they already had their mind set that Alachua was going to get closed, and comes out Thursday last week. A new option is they're going to be closing Irby, and everyone's going. And my understanding is that they're going to move everyone through the K-8 at Mebane. Just hearing that, I'm concerned on what that means for our community. We need much more information on how this is going to impact us. And so I know we got the handouts here, there's more flyers here, but tomorrow at 6 p.m. At Irby Elementary, they're going to be having a workshop where they're going to be talking about these things, and hopefully they're able to answer our community's questions on how this is going to impact. But frankly, it took me by surprise that this was the direction they were going to go. So it's a I know, we as commissioners, we also have to deal with our own hard decisions, but I think that came out kind of from left field, and I personally do not have enough information to say this is a good option for a city or a bad option. But right now, since I don't have anything, I think anytime we remove resources from our community, it's kind of a bad option. So I'm going to be there, and following that, again, it's on here, March 12th, because 2 days later they're actually going to be voting on these plans. So I encourage everybody to just show up to these meetings and hear why they're doing these things and express your opinion on why they should and should not be going these ways, because again, I don't know enough about where this decision came of, and I'm concerned. Other than that, I think that's it.
Thank you, Mayor. Actually, what I was gonna talk about is actually segues great from what Commissioner Fletcher brought up. I attended the City of Gainesville, Alachua County joint meeting this afternoon, which specifically had on their agenda the redistricting that Commissioner Fletcher has spoken about. It was the first time I got to, school board was present. In fact, the entire school board was there, plus probably 14 staff members. And so they had an overflow room downstairs at the city, Gainesville. Got to see the school board's presentation. It was well done. It felt like a sales pitch. I will agree with Commissioner Fletcher on several things. One, City of Gainesville, I'm going to summarize because I don't want to take a whole bunch of time, but City of Gainesville and Alachua County Commissioners both made sure that the school board knew, number one, this felt rushed. Number one. The comments that came from the dais were, it was a wide variety of questions to the school board superintendent. And it ranged from just, they didn't have as much, they didn't have all the information that they should have. So in other words, County Commissioner Cornell asked, when they got to the PowerPoint slide, which showed how much revenue theoretically they could be saving by doing this plan, it didn't include, the numbers did not include, for example, homeschoolers, privates, and private school students. So the numbers of students that they were working with left out close to 7,600 students in their numbers. That's just an example of something that they were not prepared to answer. There was also the question of closing the auxiliary facility, certain auxiliary facilities. They didn't have an answer as to how much that was going to save. So without going into their whole presentation, which I'm sure you'll see tomorrow, City of Gainesville and Alachua County are going to be drafting each their own formal statement to present to the school board this Thursday at their meeting, asking for them to delay their decision. I think the sentiment was that both commissions felt like that this was moved very fast, and that they were not given enough time to process the suggestions that the school board is making. I was able to speak, and I clearly said I was not representing this board. I was only representing myself as a citizen of Alachua and as a city commissioner. But I did express some of the things that some parents have come to me about, and went into, made sure that I confirmed the history of how unique we are as a community with the way our schools are, with the fact that we have a K through 2, we have a 3 through 5, and expressed it that we're the only community that's going to have they're suggesting to close 2 schools. Also, at the time, I had also been told they were going to take Turkey Creek east to Gainesville schools. I was corrected. That has come off the table. So they are going to at least keep all of our kids in the same school system. There was a lot of public conversation. I wrote down an incredible amount of notes. I agree, just personally, I agree with both commissions that this was rushed. And I feel it was, the impression is given that it was rushed on purpose, that there wasn't enough time given when there were meetings with municipal staff in order for our municipal staff to be able to communicate to commissions or whatever. There was just not enough time for anybody to communicate anything. And I found that I was very put off by that with the school board. I know that they've had, like, for example, they only had, if I understand correctly, they've only had 2 meetings in our community at Mabane, December 4th and February 17th. So I don't know that that's enough. And I don't know that, and this didn't even start, they didn't even start talking about this till, is it November, October, November? I don't think they even started talking about this. So for this, for them to be talking about closing as many schools as they're talking about and combining school, they want to start doing this, not for Alachua, but a couple of the other schools this school year. Now, they did confirm that their proposal for our schools wouldn't start till 2028. That's the update, August 2028. But it's pending the school board approval of capital funding for design and construction. I'm confused. So we're going to go ahead and close 2 schools, but we don't know yet how much it's going to cost to bring Mabane's infrastructure up to be able to handle 2 elementary schools. You can see where I'm going with this. I appreciate the fact that they're talking about what additions potentially could come to Mabane: classrooms, kitchen, media center, multiple playgrounds. But none of that is going to be concrete. And they want to push this through without full numbers and full budgets, which was also pointed out by both commissions that I was watching today. So I talked about the growth in Alachua, which we've all talked about. There's a parent here in Alachua. I don't know her. She posted a letter to the editor, and I paraphrased her letter to the editor. And part of what I spoke about is I read it to them. I thought it was very well done. And she talked about how, we're growing in Alachua and High Springs, but we're growing in Alachua, consolidating our elementary students on a single campus that doesn't have the infrastructure currently to support them is careless. Schools are more than buildings. They are community unifiers and staffed by dedicated professionals who support our students every day. Absolutely, let's have a rezoning conversation, but let's not have it include closing our schools in that conversation. Let's have a conversation about attracting the students back from private schools and charter schools and potentially homeschool. I'm not suggesting that we shut down those opportunities to parents, but there's a reason why a lot of our students are not enrolling in the public schools, which is not for, I'm no expert, that's not for me to, but we're looking at now, there's 768 open seats in our schools in the city of Alachua. 60% capacity Alachua Elementary, 69% Irby Elementary, 49% Mabane. That is really, really the big push for them, is because it has dropped below the 60s. They're saying that the facilities funding, we could focus it all on one school instead of 3 schools. I know there's some common sense to what they're trying to do. I mean, they need to save some money somewhere. But at the same time, I feel like our communities are being punished because 30 years they haven't done anything. And I feel like they're punishing City of Alachua in particular because we have this unique setup of K through 2 at one school and 3 through 5 at another. So in saying all that, without taking up too much time of anybody else, I just wanted to bring it to this commission's attention. I would suggest and ask if this commission would consider doing a statement on behalf of our city to the school board to bring on Thursday night to the school board, just letting them know, just asking for them to delay the decision. We're not, certainly we don't need to make any suggestions. I just think that not enough time has passed. And to Commissioner Fletcher's point, they have not put enough time in this for our communities to be able to really contribute to the conversation about what is best for our community, and our parents and our kids. So that's my ask. And however I need to, if I need to waive the rules or whatever I need to do, but I would love to hear from y'all about at least sending a formal statement on behalf of the city of Alachua asking the school board to delay their decision.
Mr. Mayor, I think this is one of those times where we're dealing with something that requires us to act with a bit of urgency. And what we're doing would not be us taking a stance or a decision on our city, but asking for a reprieve for us to make better decisions and for other people to make better decisions. So I would say that this is an appropriate time to move to waive, what's it called again?
I'd like to make some comments first.
Okay.
Would you, Jennifer?
Yes, ma'am. I'm 100% in agreement. I don't even think we're thinking. I mean, the reason we have K through 2nd, 3rd through 5th, and Mabane 6th through 8 is if you even just think of social emotionally, a 5-year-old that has a birth date that is going to be 5 all the way until the next year, potentially having interaction with a 12-year-old on the same campus. Just all of that alone just is mind-boggling to me. Okay. Irby Elementary, my children grew up here, went through the schools here. The culture and the dynamic of Irby Elementary has been a fight of how amazing that school is from going and getting the kids adjusted from 3rd to 5th grade. All of that, I just think of the children. Then you throw in condensing these classrooms to now where these teachers have probably on an average 18 kids in a classroom to now to 25 kids they may be teaching. Just the level of education that a teacher has to deal with today alone, with minimal resources at times, but being able to manage a classroom and actually helping every child in that classroom when you could potentially have 25 kids in there. It's just not good practice. I definitely think the school board one is the crucial. The Irby one I think is going to be informational. I'm not, Ms. Shirley will probably be answering more. We probably won't even be able to talk in that, but other than listen. It's been mind-boggling. I've been reaching out to as many people as I possibly can. I've heard all different responses. I agree with the potentially a statement or some for it. To me, I can't even wrap my head around that this is even a good idea at all at any point. And I think Mabane specifically has grown leaps and bounds in the teaching and some of the administration going on there. I think because there are so many magnet programs now offered, I think children do pick different areas to go to. I know several families that have their kids come to the program here at Mabane and absolutely love their experience there. I think Ms. Shirley probably can answer more in it. I don't even know. I don't even know what to say anymore. All I think of, my brain is a teacher brain. That's what I did first as well. And just today alone, I watched 3 administrators not here in Alachua, city of Alachua, try to help this child that they were all trying to catch. and Chase, where the rest of the class just had to sit. So they weren't even getting to do what they were supposed to be doing because they were engaging in that. Can you imagine adding 6 more to that teacher, 6 more students to that teacher? Is beyond me.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. First, before I forget, Pastor Miller, thank you for offering the prayer tonight. But my other comments were about the school board. Commissioner Williams, thank you. I've heard the presentation 3 times, and I'm still not happy with it. So I'll just say this. I was hired in 1981 as a teacher at Alachua. Then I moved to Irby. So not only do I have a passion for the children, I am passionate about them closing the schools. We cannot sit still and allow them to do that. I attended a meeting for elected officials. There were very few of us there. I received the email 2 days before the meeting. It almost appears that somehow there's a lack of communication to get the word out to the families, to the communities. I was planning to attend the meeting. I've shared with Mr. Valadares. I've written a 3-page letter, but that would just be me. So I think a better approach is the approach you're recommending, because I'm trying to keep my blood pressure down. And I'm trying to be a good elected official. So I like that.
I will add with that, maybe, with the education task force and some of the things that we have used through them, we could also use some statistics and some things from David Wisner as well, Mr. Rodolfo. Is this my time for also the comments? Because I do have a couple things I just wanted to add, but we were just talking about the school board, but I wanted to also just mention, along with Children's ELC, the Early Learning Coalition has granted more and more funds. I think I said something the last time I was here. The coalition has received another $500,000 in funds, which is huge for children in our community and in Alachua County, for the parents that are working and have the opportunity to enroll their children in early education and public school, as well as after school programs and quality programs. So I am very excited to announce that as far as that was concerned. We did have, this is just a little fun fact for me, we did have the ribbon cutting for Kirkland Farms last week or the week before, was also well attended for development in the community. But I just wanted to share that in that same day I had talked with the mayor, and my son, grew up here, is trying to buy his first home. So I did travel some of our, homes here, and was pleased, and also different varieties of homes. Okay, quality homes. Maybe not as much in certain of the developments, but Kirkland Farms was fantastic. But I just wanted to share the Briarwood development. Afterwards, we were done, and my son got in the car with me, and he said, "Mom, I'm just going to tell you something." Now, I live in Meadow Glen. His best friend lived across the street, and Briarwood wasn't there. But he said, "Mom, I just got to tell you something because I got to get it off my chest." And so I'm just sharing just a quick story about my child. He goes, when we were going through there, do you know when I was like 12, I used to go back there with Austin, and we really caused havoc back there with the animals and things like that. And do you know the guy's house is still in that area in the development in between Briarwood And I said, son, I said, I knew you were out and about on the streets and having a good time. So it just was cute. He was like, I just wanted to be surreal and honest to be able to say that I could, buy a home here and potentially in the city of Alachua. So I thought it was kind of cute. You learn things about your children, and then you're like, I can't believe it. You did? You were out there? Yeah, we used to run around all the time, chase squirrels and do all that kind of stuff. So just was neat. The other thing I wanted to mention was the task force is still scheduled for April the 13th here. So if that is something also as well for, to put out some more information as far as that is concerned. And then, of course, the Put and Fork in Cancer, which was absolutely amazing. And
Yeah.
this year I did the morning shift and an afternoon shift, and it was great. I give kudos to Jacob because I tried the coffee machine the year before, but I'm telling you, all of a sudden, just tapping all that and doing all that, I was like, no. But then the afternoon shift serving and running around and waiting, and all the people that came in to support the cancer event, I was very, very pleased. Chief, as I always say, keep us safe, keep doing what we're doing. And then I think we can keep adding on to how we want to go here moving forward. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioner Fletcher, you want to make the motion to waive rules and procedures?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to, I'll move to waive the procedures.
Second.
It's been moved to second. So we'll take a
Aye.
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 I
All right.
Yeah, we're gonna, if I could, I'd like to make the motion about the letter to the school board. Okay. Unless there's further discussion.
question,
Yeah.
when the letter is drafted,
Mm-hmm.
will we read it at the school board meeting, or are we just sending it?
So, Mr. Mayor, what I think should happen is, one, it should definitely be sent before, and then two, it wouldn't hurt to read it there.
Yeah, no,
I agree.
I agree. I agree. I mean, we should definitely read it there. They need to know how serious we are.
So are we all available to attend?
Yes, I'm
Hmm?
checking the calendar.
The school
I
board
am
meeting?
available for the Thursday. I was not available for tomorrow nights, but I am available for Thursday.
Yeah, that's why I went to today, Thursday, the 12th. Yeah, I'm available to go to the school board meeting.
So that's for Thursday.
6 o'clock.
Oh, okay. I'm available for Thursday and tomorrow. Um,
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll make the motion.
Do you want me to read my draft?
Oh, is that what you were? Yes, go
Yes.
ahead.
I won't say I move, so we'll put a little pause there, and then we'll read it. To have a letter drafted by the mayor and city manager to be transmitted before March 12th, 2026 to the Alachua County School Board, respectfully requesting the school board to stay their rezoning decision on March 12th, 2026 to a later date to allow adequate notice of such an impactful decision to the potentially affected families.
So moved.
Second.
You can third
Could
it.
we add and community?
Oh, good
Where is
idea.
To the affected families and community.
Yes.
Okay.
Good idea.
Okay, so I'll read it again. All right.
Okay. All right.
All right. To have a letter drafted by the mayor and city manager to be transmitted before March 12th, 2026 to the Alachua County School Board, respectfully requesting the school board stay their rezoning decision from March 12th, 2026 to a later date to allow adequate notice of such an impactful decision to the potentially affected families and community.
So moved. There.
Second.
it's been moved in second. All in favor?
We need public comment.
Yeah, we still do
sir.
public
Yeah.
comment.
I'm sorry. Public comments? I apologize. Y'all haven't been doing public comments, so I just if there be none. Oh, okay.
Jim Carrington. I think I live here, in Alachua, and it's important. But also, let's put in perspective the fact that transparency is an issue, Mr. Fletcher, that you push, and this doesn't have much transparency right now, but it's wonderful that we're doing it. So what I'm trying to emphasize to you as we look at bigger and bigger pictures, let us know that the public supports you, I think, on with when they voted on you. We count on you when we voted on you, and it is important, and it is important you do this. But don't get bogged down in those other details about, for me, finances. People will argue against that. Don't get bogged down in transparency issues. Yes, we can work on that slowly and surely. But for this is what puts things in perspective. If you need to make a decision and do it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Joe Hancock, thanks. I just want to reiterate that. You guys are showing that you can just make it happen, and you're taking action and making things happen, and it's really refreshing to see you come together and act fast and getting something done. Just shows, again, why we have good leadership and why things are going. So good job, guys. Thanks.
Thank you. Will there be any more comments? If not, we'll take a vote. I'll start with Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Fletcher.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think the reason why this has to be done this way is because our agenda gets published on Thursday before we found this information out on it. And this is one of the few times where we're on a deadline with trying to get this. We're not making a decision of us, but we're just asking for more time. So I don't see an issue with transparency of using waiving of procedures this way. I believe that this is an acceptable use of us doing this. And so with that, I'm going to say aye.
Commissioner Ringerson.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shirley Brown.
Thank you to my colleagues. Aye.
Mayor Wells say aye. Now I will make a comment. I thank Pastor Miller, Mr. Miller, for your prayers and being a great voice in Alachua, your ministry, Antioch. I thank you. I thank the chief and all your citizens, all the staff here, and our board, and I just appreciate everything, and I hope that we continue to collaborate and move forward and work together. Your opinions, your comments are valuable. So thank you once again. Now we'll move for a motion to adjourn.
So move motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved to second. So all in favor?
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.